Hey everybody, I hope you're doing well. I want to say I apologize for the statement I made last week. It was most definitely not an uneventful weekend of football, contrary to what I thought and what a lot of other people thought. It was probably the most exciting weekend of football all season, if not in the last few years. So I just want to run through some of what happened. I got this article pulled up here. I won't show it on screen because it's all white background and it's very bright, but if you keep up with college football, you know some of the stuff that happened, and of course the biggest thing was Vanderbilt beating Alabama, and it wasn't just like some fluke, win on a Hail Mary at the end of the game. Alabama did not lead for a single second in that game, and it was pretty they only won by 5, but like Alabama felt like they kind of stood no chance after halftime. Like they just couldn't get anything. It was a very exciting game to watch. I watched the whole thing since it was before the Iowa State game, and I had some people together, and we were watching football and hanging out. And it was fun to be able to watch like a little part of history, because this is probably the biggest upset in years. It's the second time that in 3 years that goalposts have been in the river because of Alabama losing. But the other upsets, some were Arkansas beat Tennessee, which was surprising. I don't think anybody really thought that. Technically, Texas A&M beating Missouri was an upset. They were 3-point home favorites, A&M was, even though the rankings in the AP poll were a little bit different, but they beat them 41-10, which was not expected, so that was kind of cool to see. One that I kind of expected and hoped for was that Washington beat Michigan. They won by 10, so I was happy to see that, and Michigan dropped like 11 spots in the AP ranking. And then one for the Big Ten, Minnesota beat USC. So unfortunately, I know we have some USC people that watch this. I'm sorry for your loss, but I don't really like Minnesota, but it's always fun to see an upset. So let's see. I don't think there were any other. I'm looking at the list of all the ranked games. Finals. Ohio State beat Iowa 35-7. Not really unexpected, so Iowa didn't really get a moral victory out of that. And Georgia beat Auburn. Miami almost lost to Cal. They beat Cal by 1 point, and I think they were down like 24-7 at one point in that game. I wrote them off. I didn't. That was College Game Day's game too, which is crazy. College Game Day is like picking games that don't start for at least 6 hours after their program ends, and this one I think was 9 hours after the program ended, which is crazy. Those were the main games. Iowa State beat Baylor, so that's fun. Indiana beat Northwestern. Indiana is the first bowl-eligible team of the season, which means they are 6-0. And I don't know how they managed that. I guess they just had a lot of early games. But either way, ignore OBS being weird. We're going to move on to the games of this week now. And a little recap for some of the others, which I guess you could have saw this whole time. We've got this. I didn't switch my camera. Oh well. But yeah, so you've been seeing this. Of course, Utah, Arizona State. It's weird to have a Friday game for the Big 12 a lot of times now. It's not bad. It's just weird. It's new. And, I welcome it so long as it's not my team. But this is a late game. I don't know how much of it I'm going to watch. And it is the largest spread for Big 12 this weekend. About a 6. And Utah's going to Arizona State. I support Arizona State. And Utah's kind of fallen from grace. Let's see. Utah didn't play last week, and Arizona State beat Kansas. So I'm using the last week's schedule to look at stuff. Getting a little bit more professional with this. But for Iowa State's sake, I want Utah to not be good for when they come to Ames, or when we go to Utah, sorry. But, I'm going to root for Arizona State in this one. There's not much analysis in that. Sorry for the all over the place. Cincinnati at UCF. UCF home favorites, only by 3. I'm surprised. I thought UCF was better than this. They just lost to Florida, but that's not super surprising. And Cincinnati, I am still of the opinion, is just an awful football team. And I didn't think UCF was that bad. Apparently it's going to be high scoring, but I'm going to root for UCF on this one. Arizona and BYU. Crazy to see Arizona not playing in the dark. But BYU had a bye last week. Arizona lost to Texas Tech. Unfortunately, I was hoping they would win because now Texas Tech is looking a little bit scary in coming to Ames for homecoming. I believe, let me check real quick, they as in Texas Tech, have a pretty easy schedule because they got a bye this week, and then next week, or this coming week, and then next week after that they play Baylor, which should be a very easy win for them, and then they come to, then they play TCU. So not really a whole lot of substance before coming to Ames for homecoming. So it'll be a scary homecoming game. Iowa State just has like juggernaut after juggernaut, it seems, getting loaded on their schedule. Which, speaking of, I don't know who I said I was going to play for that. I'm picking Arizona. Speaking of, Iowa State has to go to West Virginia, and this is always a scary game. I love my West Virginia bros, but they're a scary football team, and this can kind of like be a partial decider for Iowa State's season results in terms of the college football playoffs. West Virginia is not bad this year. They're doing better than expected, I think. They just trampled Oklahoma State, which is Oklahoma State. They're not great, but they're not bad either. They're in a weird spot, it seems like, every year. But this is always a scary game, and I think it will be a very entertaining game. I hope to watch it. It's 7 p.m. on Saturday night. Fingers crossed I can watch this game because I think it'll be really interesting. It'll be fun to see where Iowa State goes because after this they got a bye week, and then I'm not sure who they play. Let me see. In my professional research, who do they play after their bye week? That is their bye week. I'm losing my mind. Iowa State, oh that's right, UCF comes to Iowa State after this game, and then they have their bye week. Apologies. So, obviously I'm picking the Cyclones. I think they'll win. I hope. I'm confident in not being confident. This game might not even need explanation if you've been following this. Huge K-State fan, huge Colorado hater. I think it'd be great to see the Little Apple go into Colorado and Boulder and just trample them. I don't know if that's going to be the case. I think they're definitely going to win. They've looked good, and, I hope they do well. Because Kansas State played Friday, this last week. Kansas State had a bye, so they're coming off a bye. I think Colorado did too. So, 2 bye teams. It's at 9:15. Maybe watch the first half of this before I go to bed. But I think this should be a good game too. That's the nice thing about this Big 12 right now this year. And hopefully going forward, they're good teams, or at least entertaining and fun games to watch. Close games. So, should be good. Moving outside of the Big 12, we've got Washington versus Iowa, who Iowa did not get a moral victory last week against Ohio State. They almost held on in the first half and then just kind of got trampled. But I think this is very much a make or break it game for Iowa. They showed that obviously they can't punch way above their weight class in Ohio State, who is in another realm compared to most of the rest of the Big Ten. But Washington's a decent team. So if Iowa can beat Washington, then at least Iowa can punch at their own weight class. But if they can't, then, that's a little telling for what Iowa is. So I'm going to, of course, I hate this. I need to root for Iowa, but I'm not gonna look at this game at all. because I'm going to be looking at the Red River rivalry. Pronounced it right. I don't care about either of these teams. I actually hate them both. So usually this is a very fun game to watch. It looks like over a 2-touchdown spread it might not be the most exciting, but in massive, massive rivalries like this, the spread is almost irrelevant. Crazy things can happen, they have happened, and at the end of the day, as long as it's entertaining to watch, then who cares? If you're into this, have fun. At the same time as Penn State and USC, USC had a heartbreaker last week against Minnesota, so I apologize to hear about... No, I'm not apologizing. I'm sorry to hear about all the USC fans who got their heart crushed by Minnesota. I think they're going to get their heart crushed again by Penn State, but at least this time it's expected, so there's that. But I don't know, unless you're a super USC fan, I don't know how you can watch this over the Red River rivalry. Two teams punching at their weight class. I believe this is rank 2 and rank 3 teams in the country right now. Ohio State at Oregon. I think this will be a great game of just two very skilled, very talented teams just punching each other right, left hook style. How it'll go, I don't know, but this is a really exciting top 5 matchup. So it should be a good game on at 6:30, so I will only watch 30 minutes of it due to Iowa State implications, but that is mostly it from what I have. Another week where a lot of teams are on byes. Next week, every team in the Big 12 at least will be playing, so full, complete slate. And the exciting thing right now is that we are in 55 straight days of football. That started last Thursday, so combined between NFL and college football, we're going through 55 straight days of a football game on every day. I don't know anything about the games that are on Monday, Tuesday, or really Thursday, as those are the smaller teams, but if we scroll back here, currently Liberty and Florida International are playing. Wednesday we have New Mexico State and Jacksonville State, and then we've got 3 games on Thursday, along with the NFL game, which is the Seahawks and 49ers, which should be a good game. I'm hoping to get Geno Smith off waiver wires this week, so we'll see if that happens, because Josh Allen has not been pulling his weight lately. And then, of course, we've got some Friday games that are starting to pick up. Northwestern and Maryland. UNLV, unfortunately, lost to Syracuse, but I don't think they'll have a problem with Utah State. And then, of course, the Utah-Arizona State game. So, should be a good week. Last week is probably going to be hard to top, but it should still be a good week this week. So, I hope you enjoy your football. And, of course, Michigan State and Texas, well, not Texas, sorry. Michigan State is on a bye this week. Texas is in a big game of their life. But I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what teams you'd like to see, if any, and enjoy watching football this weekend. I'll see you all later.